Brought to you by LaunchPod Media.
Hello and welcome to LaunchPod Media. You are watching the LaunchPod Media YouTube page where we talk about podcasting and how to get your page and your podcast going strong. Today, my name is DK and I'm going to help you guys out with your audio needs and your hardware. I'm the kind of creative director for the company and I help all of our clients out with their audio needs. So I think we're going to have a great time today as I talk about my passion, getting the audio just right. So the first things first, we're going to talk about microphones. Now, microphones are awesome. There's many different types of microphones. The microphone that you probably know about is a USB microphone. Now, you've seen like the Blue Yeti, the Blue Snowball, or different Audio-Technica mics where you can plug it in directly into the computer. Now, those are awesome, but the problem is if you ever want to have another guest or another person speaking, you can't record different microphones from the same computer. So you'd have to have recording software on different computers, one USB mic on each, and then somehow paste them together on one computer afterwards. So it's not really worth all that hassle. So if you want to have multiple people, you have to use analog microphones. Now there's many different types of analog microphones. There's condenser microphones, which are more like the studio types. And then there's dynamic microphones. Now, these are the microphones that you see live on stage or when you see interviews off at radio stations. They're big, clunky ones. So here's an example of a great dynamic microphone. This is the Shure SM7B. Right now, it's probably about $400 new, maybe $350, $300 used. And these guys are really awesome. This thing is super durable. It's not sensitive to noises outside of your voice. So if you're really close to it, it won't pick up the sound of your room. It won't pick up the fan that's going up above you. It won't pick up the people chattering in the background, right? Or if you're in a big empty space, let's say a warehouse, it's a lot easier for this microphone to ignore all the echoes coming in from the room. So dynamic microphones are the way to go. Now, what I do recommend, Shure has another microphone called the SM58, which I have right here. Looks a little bit like this. This guy is $100, right? Not $400, $100. There's even cheaper ones as well. So I do recommend that you pay at least $50 for an analog microphone at the minimum. Don't pick the cheapest one on Amazon. They actually sound very bad. But at least if you get something like this one will last you your life, an entire lifetime. And these things, you can see it's super beat up. But these things don't die, right? And the second thing that you need, the accessories that you need, is actually a microphone cable and a microphone stand. You need something to connect the microphone to your computer. So you need the cable, but the problem is your computer doesn't have an input for the microphone cable. It doesn't have that three-pronged little input thing. You need something called an interface. An interface is a device that converts analog electrical signals coming from the microphone and the magnets inside that translates it into digital zeros and ones, right? So you need that. There's a box called an interface where you can do it all for you, and then you can plug that in typically via Thunderbolt or USB into a computer and then record into GarageBand, Pro Tools, Studio One, Logic, whatever you're using for your recording software. Now, as far as recording software, this is a fun one. There's actually one that I recommend that you should look into. There's a couple that are online. The first one, if you do a lot of like long distance interviews, there's a website called Zencastr. Zencastr is an amazing company. It degrades the audio quality, so it actually isn't the best as far as audio quality. It's better if you call someone and they have their own recording setup. But if you're interviewing people that probably don't have their own studio or a way of recording it nicely, this is awesome. Zencastr is awesome, super easy. You just send the guest a link and they can log in, and they can just use their headphones that they have connected to their phone even, and it records it all for you. Now that is super duper awesome. The one that I really recommend though is a company that Spotify just purchased. It's called Soundtrap. Soundtrap.com is a monthly subscription. I think it's about $8, I believe. But the great thing about Soundtrap is that you can collab just like Zencastr with people from anywhere in the world, and it saves it, and it works as an online audio workstation, so an online recording software. Now, that's awesome if you also have a large team, or if you need to send it someone to edit, or you needed to send it to someone to record another part, or send it to another music guy who adds music to your podcast, or whatever it is. It's a great collaborative online workstation. Now, with that being said, there are a lot of noob things that you can look out for. One of the first things is your audio, to prevent bad audio quality, is actually where you record. Now, you might want to record in your bedroom or in your office space, but it actually might be better to record everything in your closet where all the clothing is. Now, the reason why you want to do that is because clothing absorbs all of the echoes and the reflections that are coming from your voice. Where if you have an issue where it kind of sounds like there's reverb or some echo coming into your microphone, try moving positions into like a closet or into some space where there's a lot of, where it's not as big and it doesn't echo as much. Try that, and then you might have a lot better audio quality. Also, when you purchase a microphone, whether it's a Yeti Snowball or whatever it is, right? Make sure you find out which direction is the front of the microphone. I see this all too often. Most podcasters aren't audio freaks like me, where people will purchase a microphone, like let's say this SM7B, right? And they look at it and they kind of think, oh, it's a studio mic, so they talk into it like this. Now, this is the incorrect way of doing it. It actually makes your audio sound worse, and it makes you sound extra quiet. Now, you look at the manual, look at the videos for the microphone, do your research, and figure out where the front of your microphone is. That might also save your audio quality as well. Now, after that, we're gonna talk about how to upload your shows to different platforms on a different episode. But this is it for typical tools, the kind of hardware that you need, and how to get started for your podcast recording needs. Please smash that like button. Please hit subscribe. We continue to make tons of videos that are for you. We hope to build value for you. We hope to motivate you to start your own podcast. If you've already started, we hope that we're going to help you find more followers, more listeners, and more fans of your brand. Thank you so much. You've been listening to LaunchPod Media.